Everybody has one podcast. We are back.
Yes.
Another week. So much going on in the world of sports, man. We got a late start today because of the weather and the road conditions, man. We appreciate the Everybody Has One family sticking in there with us. I'm your host, Jason Flake. My co-host, Lance Reynolds, a.k.a. the People's Champ.
What up, though?
Thank you again to the Everybody Has One family for another great week of engagement. Over 25,000 views on the YouTube channel. Countless comments, likes, shares on the social sites. And y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe. That's Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. That's Everybody Has One spelled out on the social media sites. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Threads, that is TikTok, and that is Twitch. The audio version of the podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Man, y'all make sure y'all tap in there. When y'all watch the videos, make sure you watch them in their entirety, man. Throw them on in the background when y'all are at work or at the gym or, just cooking, doing some kind of task, man. Throw them on in the background, man, and give us a listen. Give us those plays, man, and play those videos in their entirety. That would be much appreciated. And thank you again, man, for your continued support, man. It does not go unnoticed. But without further ado, man, we're gonna get into the topics, man. So much to discuss in so little time. Shout out to the People's Champ.
Yo.
He went 4-2 over the weekend, NFL wildcard weekend, man. Obviously, I went 3-3. There was only one game that we disagreed on, and that was Buffalo and Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo did win that game 27-24. Josh Allen went 28 of 35, 273 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He also had 11 carries for 33 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen is a stud. I think that basically goes without saying, man. But is Josh Allen going to lift his team to a Super Bowl, beat the odds, defy 50 years of NFL history, man, would say the People's Champ?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see him do it.
Likewise.
I am, rooting from afar for the city of Buffalo, be their history with close encounters and brushes with glory.
Yeah, indeed.
When it comes to capturing the Lombardi Trophy. So I'd like for him to, but if we're talking it actually happening, I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I just think the road to the Lombardi for him is difficult. And you would think in a postseason where he doesn't have to worry about Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, that this would be optimal time, for him to be able to do it.
True.
And maybe he really is Superman and he gets it done.
He gonna have to be.
Maybe them not being there mentally unlocks something.
Yeah.
Where when the situation is in his control to seize it, he can do it. But I just don't see it. Like they've got the Broncos coming up, and they're another team that has a rabbit foot somewhere.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you got to respect it.
Yeah.
The results are the results. So, and then, whoever, comes away between the Texans and the Pats.
Yep.
You got a Belichick disciple coming at you either way, no matter how you
agree. Yeah.
No matter how you get out of there. So, they're going to be prepared for your best shot. So
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I definitely think that the odds are not stacked in his favor. I think that they won't be favored going to Denver. Realistically, they probably shouldn't be. Josh Allen is obviously supremely talented, but he's going to be asked to beat another outstanding defense in the Broncos that gets after the quarterback on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And if he manages to accomplish that, then his reward is going to be earning the opportunity to try to do it again against another otherworldly defense with all likelihood. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm having a difficult time, one, believing that his defense is good enough to hold up. Two, that he's going to be able to get all of these games on the road.
Yeah.
And then three, that his body's going to hold up because he's being asked to do so much.
Yeah, he is. Especially with Gabe Davis now being out of the equation.
Exactly. So with that being said, though, he's an amazing talent, and that can never be underestimated. So I would never say that he's got no chance.
Right.
But it's going to be hard, and if he does it, I mean, it's going to be an otherworldly feat.
I mean, that would rank in terms of
Super Bowl runs is going to be up there, as one of the very best. So yeah, I agree. But I just think it's going to be very, very difficult to accomplish. But obviously we'll be keeping our eyes on that, and when we get to the divisional round picks, we'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's talk about the Packers versus the Bears, because that's one that we both got wrong. The Bears did win 31-27, and I love a good stat, man. So I'll give you one. When the Bears are down 10 in the final 5 minutes of a game, they're 3-3.
Okay.
The rest of the league is 3-159.
Oh my God.
So in other words, the Bears have a 50-50 shot.
They're an anomaly.
In that scenario, everybody else has a less than 2% shot. So as my father would say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. History does tell us that that's not sustainable, but they've been, obviously the best team in the league at getting that done.
Wow.
Green Bay this year, conversely, has 3 losses when they've led by 10 points or more going into the fourth quarter. So my question for the people's champ, did the Packers choke, or did the Bears demonstrate that they're one of the best fourth quarter comeback teams in history? Or I guess there's a third option where it's both and. But what say the people's champ, man?
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have just found a way to just find the right dance partner in these miraculous comebacks week after week after week. A part of me is starting to believe that they're en route to becoming one of the greatest fourth quarter team in the history of football. But that said, to your point, when we're talking options and option number 3, Matt LaFleur is practiced and shit in the bed in the playoffs. I mean, it's kind of becoming a thing.
Yeah, I started to throw a Matt LaFleur question in here. It's interesting that you said that. I chose to omit it.
We're not going to let him fly under the radar over here. No.
Since you brought that up, let me give you an interesting factoid about Matt LaFleur.
I knew you'd have my back.
Since the playoffs expanded, I believe they expanded the play, and you can fact check me on this, nephew. Since they expanded the playoffs, I believe they did that around the pandemic, to 7 teams. The Packers have only ever been the 7th seed. In other words, had they not expanded the playoffs, no Matt LaFleur in the playoffs. And this is the last year of his contract coming up. And I believe he wants a contract extension and more money. So this could very well be the last year, because I'm not going to be paying you like the best coach in football for you to be the 7th, for you to back into the playoffs every year, essentially be the last team in every year. No, we're not doing that. You're not winning any divisions. You basically the last team in every year. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, that I didn't realize that. Yeah, they the last team in every year.
They're the play-in.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like if in NBA terms, you're absolutely right. They the play-in team every year. Like, nah, fam. You got to be solidly in the playoffs every year. And, and they spend money. They spend money on free agents.
They got
go
players.
out. Yeah, they go out and get people. Yeah. So no, that's interesting. So yeah, I was going to ask a question about Matt LaFleur's future with Green Bay, and whether or not they should give him a contract extension, play out this last season, or move on, after next year.
It's definitely a tough question because he's definitely a brilliant offensive mind.
I agree. But is he a head coach?
And, sometimes he could maybe be a head coach, but maybe he just has to mature.
Yes.
Because that was, and not to say this is the route he'll go, but the example that I'll use is, that was Andy Reid for a long time.
Right.
Andy Reid blew it a lot of times with those squads in Philly, and eventually, once, he did find a once in a lifetime guy.
Yep.
But, once it all kind of synced up, you look at it now, he can look back on the totality of his coaching career, and, it stacks up as one of the all-time greats.
Yep. Go ahead, Neff.
Just to clarify, Green Bay won the division in 2020 and 2021.
Oh, okay. So they did win the division those 2 years. And that was but when was the playoff expanded?
2020.
2020. Okay. All right. Okay. So so that the last Rodgers year, I think, but they've been the 7th seed how many years in a row?
The last 3.
Last 3. Okay. All right. Thank you for fact checking me on that.
Well, even those years where they won the division, when they went to the playoffs, they didn't do anything.
No. They haven't done anything in a while. But yeah, I think they lost to Tampa one of those years in the NFC Championship game, because that was the Brady Rodgers game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think when they had Rodgers, I think they did. But he's
that
been
was like
the
Rodgers' last MVP season.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. But yeah, so that's an interesting one. But let's talk some Rams Panthers, because we both got this one correct. Rams won 34-31. Matt Stafford 24 of 42, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Bryce Young was not bad. He 21 of 40, 264 and a touchdown and a pick. Just an observation of the game before I let you go. When Carolina scored with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left, I live bet the Rams to win on the money line. I also bet Carolina plus 10 at the beginning of the game, because I told you that's too many points in a playoff game.
At one point, it was like plus 14 and a half.
Yeah, it was insane.
Crazy.
Matt Stafford ranks number 3 in NFL history for fourth quarter comebacks behind Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. If you include regular season and playoffs, he's done it some 40 times. So I knew. I'm like, man, what's the live bet for them to win real quick? I was at
way too much time on the clock.
Yeah, I said that's way too much time left, man. So a couple of questions, man. Does Carolina re-sign Bryce Young this season? Because I think he's up to be re-signed. What say the people's champion is Matt Stafford, this year's league MVP?
Yeah, I think Bryce has shown enough.
Okay.
Of course, they need a consistent running game. They shown when they had the running game, when it was available to them.
Yeah.
They could definitely get some things done, because defensively that team is only going to get better. I think if you can just get him more weapons on the outside and, a little more protection, especially on the right side, for some reason with that team. If they could get him more protection there, I think he's tough. I think he's definitely shown he's mentally tough. And physically, when you look at, he's been nicked here and there, but he definitely hasn't been nicked up like, say, a Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
For a guy of his size.
I agree. I like Bryce Young. I think I agree with you. I don't know that I'm giving him a big giant deal, but something team friendly, something that's reasonable that allows you to continue to build out that roster. I think that I would definitely continue on with him and stay the course. I would like to see them get a really good tight end.
Yeah.
I feel like they gotta, I like Teteroa McMillan. I like Leggett, some of the weapons on the outside, they got some promise. I think if you got him a really good tight end safety net, like a little security blanket, I should say, that I think he could flourish with that. So I agree.
Yeah, I think you'd go with the way the trend's going. Give him 2.
Yeah.
Get him 2 tight ends. Book them right on in.
Yep. And Matt Stafford, is that our league MVP? Or
it's hard to argue against it. I mean, I think it'll come down to all things considered. If he stays healthy, Drake May get his.
Mm-hmm.
I think that may be I think that would probably be what the final decision will be for a lot of the voters.
I concur. Yeah, I think it's a 2-man race between those two, in my opinion. Jonathan Taylor was in it for a while, but they kind of fell back. But yeah, I agree. I think it's between those two, but I think Matt has edged him out.
Yeah.
What you got, nephew?
Friend of the show, Ty says Stafford equals MVP.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
Yep. Let's talk a little Chargers and Patriots, man. Patriots won 16-3 since we brought up Drake May, or as we call him on the show, Drake Will.
Yeah.
He was 17-29, 268 yards, a touchdown and an interception. He also rushed 10 times for 66 yards. Started a little slow, came on in the second half. Justin Herbert, stop me if you heard this one before. He was lackluster in this playoff game. 19 of 31, 159 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, no meaningful impact, no plays of consequence when it mattered. In 3 playoff games, Justin Herbert's defense has forced 10 turnovers, and he's 0-3. That is unprecedented in NFL history. Is New England a legit Super Bowl contender? And can we be done with the Justin Herbert as a top 5 quarterback narrative? Would say the people's champ.
Yeah, I was done with the Justin Herbert top 5 quarterback talk before the season started.
You already know I was too.
Number 2, are the Patriots a Super Bowl contender right now, today, as we speak? Yes.
Okay. All right. I like it. I think that I say no, because I think they give up a little too much pressure on Drake May. He's under pressure a little too much, and that's no bueno with Houston coming to town. Houston's pass rush is absurd. It's just an absurd pass rush, and it wears on you over the course of a game.
I agree with you on that point, but my counter to that would be, and I hate to say it, C.J. Stroud.
Well, yes, I mean
because if he's going to keep playing charity ball for the other team,
he was bad on Monday night. He was really bad on Monday night.
But he's had a lot of brain farts this season.
He has, yeah, he has. That was a really bad game. I don't expect him to play that poorly again, but you're right. I mean, he can't play that poorly and they win. If he's going to play that poorly, they ain't beating anybody. So he's got to improve his play exponentially. But I expect him to. I mean, yeah, like he had 2 lost fumbles, and he threw an interception, so he turned the ball over 3 times, which is wild.
Because the Pats defense, Mike Vrabel's going to have those guys ready and dialed up and ready to go. That's a chess match I'm waiting to see. Actually,
the defense is real,
and if it comes down to the guys under center having to make the play to decide it, I don't know, man.
But
and
let's say even if they get past Houston,
true.
They probably, spoiler alert, I'm going to pick Denver, and that Denver pass rush is that's just as nasty.
And then the guys behind the pass
this
rush
is what I'm talking about.
And ready to pick it off.
Yeah. So he's going to have to probably face 2 of the most ferocious and nasty defenses. But again, like I said the same thing about Josh Allen, I'll give the same thing to Drake. Like if he pulls that off, listen, it's going to be a lot of winning going on in New England. I mean, and it's just not fair.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the football guys wherever they at, it's just not fair.
Yeah, we're not about to endure this for another 15 years.
That they had 3 years of rebuild since Tom Brady, and now they back good again. That's just not right. I just want to say that. That's not right as a Lions fan. That's not right. It is not fair. It's not correct. It's not right. But But if the football gods are listening, everybody has one. Family wants you to know that this is not right.
It's not fair.
It's just not right. But yeah, I listen. I think that even if I think that there's probably a year away.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, they're probably going to be very good for years to come. Drake May is the real thing. Mike Vrabel is obviously very good. I think once they fortify the offensive line, it's just all downhill from there. They're very good. That they're very sound everywhere. They're an excellent football team. So, Niners and Eagles, man, another one we got wrong. We both picked the Eagles. The Niners came and the Eagles barely did.
Oh my God.
Brock Purdy was 18 of 31, 262, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey, only 15 carries, only 48 yards, but 6 receptions for 66 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. DeMarcus Robinson had a big game, 6 catches, 111 yards and a TD. Philly's offense was anemic yet again. Jalen Hurts, 20 of 35, 168 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Saquon did have 26 carries for 106, but A.J. Brown, only 3 catches for 25 yards.
And 3 drops.
And 1 argument with his coach on the sideline. Just a couple of interesting statistics, man, before I let you give your thoughts on this game. Jalen Hurts has thrown for under 200 yards 10 times this season. Only Bryce Young is the only starting quarterback that has thrown for 200 yards fewer times. The Eagles have scored 20 or fewer points 9 times this season. You know who else has done that? The Titans and the Jets.
Ouch.
Kevin Patullo was fired this week, but should the Eagles consider trading A.J. Brown? And is Nick Sirianni coaching for his job next season? We'll say the people's champ.
Yeah, I don't know if they should consider trading A.J. Brown. He should already be gone.
That's definitive. I like that.
And for Sirianni, he's kind of shown the ability to kind of bounce back after a down year.
He has.
I think they really have to solidify an OC. Like, this would be their 5th OC in 5 years.
That's
like,
right.
That's nuts. Now,
that's right.
Is it something whereas that you need maybe a high-level OC to collaborate with someone with a specific skill set like Jalen has?
Right.
Because, I mean, there were times Sunday you could kind of see, like, Jalen, like, looking at Kevin Patullo like, come on now, this shit ain't going to work. Like, you know what I mean? And then you factor in the drops aside, what AJ has been parroting all season about, eventually, we're a wet marble on tissue.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. But I think the biggest thing with them, and as it refers to Sirianni in next year, they have to solidify the OC. I think, receivers, you can get a receiver to replace A.J. Brown, especially the production A.J. Brown gave you this year. The O-line as well.
Yep. Lane Johnson being hurt, it didn't help. I thought Fred Johnson filled in reasonably well, though. I thought the O-line was okay. They were not as good as they were last year. Missing Lane Johnson, that hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
You're not going to be as good in the running game. I think you miss him more in the running game, but they should. I think that, I think that A.J. Brown is, while I still think he's good and he's productive, I think that they need other things in their offense. I think that they could probably use some other things in the offense that would be more suited to what Jalen Hurts does.
What do you think Jalen needs specifically to maximize what he can do?
I would like to see a more RPO style offense.
Okay.
Rather than a traditional drop back style. More of what the Ravens do, but not Todd Monken's bad play calling. You know what I'm saying? But that style of offense where his legs are in play every play, where you hold the mesh point and you freeze the linebackers, where the middle of the field is utilized a lot more. They don't utilize the middle of the field. They always throw into the perimeter. If you notice, what they're doing. They don't use Dallas Goedert enough because they don't use the RPO scheme. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if you're not 100% RPO, if you're not 100% read option, like you need to be using some RPO, some read option, especially with Saquon.
Yeah.
Because if you hold the ball at the mesh point with Saquon and Jalen, and they both are running threats, you're going to freeze the linebackers. You're going to have the intermediate part of the field open. I think that is what you need. That's the creativity that you need from an offensive coordinator. You cannot have a straight drop back passing game with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not that good of a passer. I mean, let's just be frank.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not a good enough thrower of the football, for you to just treat him like he's Matt Stafford. You're just going to have a straight drop back passing game. It doesn't work that way. So, and I think that's what they tried this year, and it just wasn't successful.
No, because to your point, the RPO helps him establish a rhythm as a passer.
Correct.
And then once he gets into a rhythm as a passer, then he can kind of carve you up and then bring the leg threat to the table. So, yeah, I hear you there.
Yep, I agree. And then the final game of the weekend was the Texans versus the Steelers. And obviously the story was the Texans defense. Aaron Rodgers was pressured on 45% of his dropbacks, which is such an absurd stat that I think it speaks for itself. But and of course, we already talked about C.J. Stroud playing poorly. He fumbled twice, two lost fumbles, by the way.
Yeah, he fumbled 4 times.
Yes, correct. Yeah, he lost 2, and he threw an interception. He was 21 of 32 for 250 yards, a touchdown and an interception. But again, that doesn't tell the story of the fumbles. Rodgers threw for only 146 yards and an interception, had a quarterback rating of 50. It was by far his worst playoff performance in an otherwise storied career. Obviously, the story after the game was Mike Tomlin stepping down after 19 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of things to unpack here. Obviously, let me start with Aaron Rodgers. Is that the last time we see Aaron on the NFL playing surface?
Please, Lord, let it be.
And Mike Tomlin, man, was this the right decision for the Steelers? Was it the right decision for Mike Tomlin?
Does he keep? How much of his money does he keep?
$50 million over the next 2 seasons.
A great decision, Mike.
$25 million a year.
Outstanding decision, Mike Tomlin. What are we doing?
You know what? Let me sidebar with you for a minute. Did you realize NFL head coaches made that kind of money?
No, that's why when I heard 50 million, I'm like, what are we talking about? What?
Because I remember. So I'll take a little rabbit trail. Remember when they asked him if he was going to leave the Steelers to go coach USC, and he was like, "I coached the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are you, like basically just dressed down the reporter like." Now I see why. Like 7 years, 91 million. That's what Lane Kiffin just got. And he like, that's chump change. You know what I'm saying? I make 25 million a year. Like now I see why he said that.
Dude, yeah. And
I'm over here making real bread. Like, dude, I make that in a couple years.
A lot of lettuce.
Man, yeah. So yeah, shout out to Mike Tomlin. But
I don't believe that he gets paid from his contract because he resigned. They technically still has his rights. So if he gets hired by another team, then the Steelers are draft compensation, or they have rights to draft compensation.
Correct. Yes, they would have to. The understanding that I have is that they would have to okay him coaching for another team.
Okay.
So they still have it because he resigned and he he was not terminated. Right. So yeah, he still has the money. He still gets the money, and they would have to okay him going elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people speculate that he'll probably go do TV or something like that.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, I think it was fine. But couple of things, though, a couple of tidbits. Because we were talking about Matt LaFleur earlier, and I think this is true about him, and it's true about Tomlin. So while I have a tremendous respect for Mike Tomlin, I like Mike Tomlin a lot. I do think it was time after 19 seasons, probably for both the organization and Mike to get a fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of things that strike me about Mike Tomlin. Again, like there's coaching red flags sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
One big coaching red flag for me is when a coach doesn't have a coaching tree.
Mm.
And I think that's true about John Harbaugh too. I don't think he's got a coaching tree like that. You don't have like other coaches that are, like how Andy Reid got a coaching tree. Even Sean McVay, like you mentioned, he's 39 years old. I mean, Dan Campbell been here 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And the head coach of the Jets and the head coach of the Bears are off of his tree. Like they basically his coaches.
And Miami want to interview Kelvin Shepherd.
That's what I said. I'm like, Kelvin Shepherd about to interview with somebody coming up here this week. So that's interesting when I don't know what it means. I think
that's less fair to Harbaugh because he had you can say he has Mentor.
Jesse Mentor, but he's the coordinator.
McDonough.
Yeah,
but he's soon to be a head coach in the next
year. Right.
So I think if on surface level it might seem like that, but I think that's less for the Harbaugh.
For Harbaugh, yes. I agree.
I think that's more so because him and Jim have shared a lot of the same people.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But 18 years though, like you would think that it would be, his coaches would be littered throughout the league as opposed to just having a couple of names. But yeah, I agree. Less so John Harbaugh than Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin really doesn't have a coaching tree. But also, he's the first coach in NFL history to lose 5 straight playoff games by double digits. Also, he's lost 7 straight playoff games.
Yeah, that's rough.
And, I got to do my little expose, right? Just to go through all of them, going back to 2017.
Oh, man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, against New England. January 2017, they trailed 36-9 before eventually losing 36-17. Okay, that was the AFC Championship game. No big deal. That was New England, Tom Brady. They smacked up a lot of teams. The following season against the Jaguars. My point is they trailed big in all these games. Following season against the Jaguars, they started that game down 21-0. They eventually rallied and made it a shootout. Lost 45-42. That was against the quarterback for the Jags, by the way, was Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Against the Browns in 2021, that was the season they started 12-0. They went down 28-0 in that game before rallying back to lose a shootout 48-37. 2022, they were at one point down to the Chiefs 35-7 before eventually losing 42-21. So that game basically was never close. 2023, they were down 21-0 to the Bills before eventually losing 31-17. 2024, stop me if you heard this one before. They were down to the Ravens, 21-0 before eventually losing 28-14. Of course, Monday night, they lost 30-6. I mean, those are big, big losses.
Yeah.
And again, that's not to say that Mike Tomlin is not a good head coach, because he certainly is. 19 years never having a losing season, that's something.
Right.
That's something. But it does speak to the fact that sometimes something is off in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a defensive head coach. Getting behind big in every playoff game, you know what I'm saying? Like all of your last 7 playoff games, that means something. Like there's something there. And I always think that sometimes, it's the environment and it's the individual. Sometimes you just need to, the vibe is bad and you got to get a separation so that the individual can get a fresh start and so that the environment can change.
Start to become mundane.
Correct. It's not necessarily the individual is bad or that the environment is bad. It's just that you need a change. And so I was glad that, they didn't fire him or didn't blow him out, you know what I'm saying? And that is all, it's ugly. And I just, I think that,
Steelers are a class organization.
They are. And I think that he will eventually likely coach again because I think he's a coach.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he'll probably take his time because of the money and because of the fact that the Steelers would have to okay his next coaching position.
And 19 years on the road, that's a grind, man.
And being an NFL head coach is hard.
That is a grind. So I don't think anyone would blame him if he wanted to take a year or two off and get some TV money, fly around, work 2-3 days a week, on the weekend or whatever.
I certainly wouldn't blame him.
Now, I did have a question for you, though.
Go ahead.
As it refers to Harbaugh and Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
And, we like tinfoil koofy hypotheticals here.
Yeah, so I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
So with both of them now, moving on to hopefully greener pastures.
Yeah.
Let's just say the roles were reversed.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think wins one or then both continue to not win if Tomlin has Lamar and Harbaugh has TJ Watt?
So let me say this.
And the reason why I asked that is because, and I'm not to say this is the sole reason, but I think a lot of in the latter years of Tomlin's tenure in Pittsburgh,
mm-hmm.
a lot of that being hamstrung to the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger and, him not really being willing to cultivate maybe the organization gearing towards getting a quarterback that can carry them on after he's gone could have hurt them as well.
I will say, so here's my thing about Mike Tomlin. Here's the unknown. He's never developed a quarterback. I don't know what his ability is to develop a quarterback.
Okay.
So if I'm hiring Mike Tomlin, I want my quarterback in the room.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin toward the end, and I hate to do cross sports analogies, but I'm going to do it anyway. He gave me Steve Kerr vibes.
Oh, Lord.
Steve Kerr, and not that because I think Steve Kerr is not really interested in developing young guys.
Yeah.
You just getting that vibe from him. Like he falling out with any young guy that's got promise, Steve Kerr's not interested. He just ain't interested in them. Like he like Brandon Pajemski because Brandon Pajemski is a role player. He's going to be a role player for his entire career.
He's happy to be there.
Yeah. Moses Moody, role player for his entire career. No problem with him. Jonathan Kuminga could possibly be a starter and a star. He going to fall out with him. Jordan Poole, same thing. He show a lot of promise. Nope, because, he feels for some reason threatened by those guys.
Eric Pascal.
Yeah, I mean, like he just falls out with the younger stars, younger potential stars. They haven't even budded into a star. Just if they have any potential, those guys he just doesn't. He's not interested in.
Right? Yeah, because he'll play a young player like a Patrick McCall or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like
a fill-in guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he don't dislike all young play, but anybody that's got the potential to supplant one of his established stars, he won't do it.
Well, that's because he's afraid to manage that.
Yes, eventually a guy like that is going to hamstring the organization. Now, I don't know with Mike Tomlin. I'm not sure that it's because he can't develop a quarterback or because he was married to the I've never had a losing season. And I'm not interested in what a young quarterback means. You know what I'm saying? Because they had
that's a hell of a point there. Like after a while, that becomes kind of a shtick unintentionally.
Yeah, because one year they had they traded their first round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Mm.
The same year that Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love were drafted after they would have been drafting in the first round. Same thing with this year. This year, Jackson Dart, Tyler Show. I don't know what these guys are going to end up being. Shedeur Sanders. I don't know what these guys are going to end up being, but they were on the board when Pittsburgh was picking. I mean, we sat here and watched the draft in this room, and we were all perplexed. I mean, Ty, who's watching us now, was sitting here. We all believed that Pittsburgh would take a quarterback. he's not interested in developing a young quarterback. He was not interested in doing that. They waited on Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, I mean, you can have a young quarterback and Aaron Rodgers in the same room. I mean, like, you know, like you could have done both. A young
quarterback would probably benefit from having Aaron Rodgers in the quarterback room, you would think.
Correct. So yeah, like, so that's the one unknown about Tomlin. So to get back to answering your question, I would think that Tomlin would do well with Lamar, though. Like an established Lamar, because he came into an established Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
And they did fine because he's a defensive side of the ball guy. So I think that he do fine. What you got, nephew?
Are we sure Mike Tomlin is as good as the perception is of him? Because to your earlier point, Lance, like you said, the Steelers are a class organization. They've had 3 head coaches for y'all entire lifetime.
Yes, that's correct. Longer than our entire lifetime.
Right. Yeah. My point is exactly. Yeah. So what's not to say that the culture of the Steelers over the past 50-some years isn't what carried them over these past years and not and not Tomlin and his coaching ability. Not to say I don't think he's a bad coach. I'm not sitting here to say he's a bad coach. But again, and I know I say this a lot, culture means a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think there's no stronger culture in sports outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers culture.
Yeah.
And so I think there has to be a consideration with how the past, 7-8 years have gone and have ended. I think there's a question to say how good is he actually is compared to the perception that he holds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question. You know, I would lean towards saying I do believe that Tomlin is a good football coach because irrespective of everything, it's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, no organization is good enough to undergird you solely if you can't coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen good coaches, you know, Gerard Mayo lost when he was coaching in New England. You know what I'm saying? Like, the organization can't hold you up if you can't coach.
And they wasted no time.
Yeah, and getting rid of it because good organizations are decisive. So I think that if Mike Tomlin wasn't a good coach, it would still reveal itself. I mean, the NFL is still the NFL, but I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers organization has assisted him absolutely. Yes, I believe that, you know, him being a part of an excellent organization, then being able to get players and pick players and him being a part of that process has certainly assisted him. But I would still lean toward him being a really good head coach. But with that being said, I mean, but I said this about any head coach. I like coaches going to where there's already an established quarterback. I don't want to have to go somewhere where they got to get me a quarterback and the quarterback situation is unknown. You know, I would always recommend that coaches go.
Now, when you say established, do you mean like established in terms of the organization has decided that they have a quarterback? Right. Or do you mean like they're like tearing the league up?
No.
They just have they identified their guy.
Correct.
Got you.
Yeah, and there's something there to work with.
Gotcha.
But man, let's get to some of these divisional round picks, man, and then I want to get to the CFP, man, and then we can start busting down some of this NBA conversation. Let's talk about Buffalo at the Broncos, man. Who you picking? What you thinking? And why? What say the people's champ, man? Everybody is on the edge of their seat, man, trying to hear what the people's champ got to say.
Dude, the Denver Broncos have just continued to just find a way to win games. I mean, the defense, the pass rush, as you mentioned in a minute earlier, and of course the secondary with young Patrick
Surtain, yep, the reigning defensive player of the year.
It's hard to pick against them. Bo Nix has started to win me over.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a big Bo Nix guy in college.
Not at all. Me either.
But I do think Denver. I think Denver pulls it out.
Yep.
I think they pull it out.
We agree on that one. Rams at the Bears, man. By the way, it's supposed to be like sub-zero temperatures in Chicago. It's going to be freezing cold.
Well, Stafford played in the Midwest for 12 years. So
yep.
That shouldn't really bother him. Oh, but you know what? This shit's got to stop sooner or later. Come on, Rams, and beat these Bears, man. Like, this has to stop sooner or later. This can't keep going on, man.
I agree. I got the Rams beating the Bears. I think Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are going to tear up that Bears secondary. Also, I think what was underreported about the Bears game is that they lost their left tackle and their middle linebacker. That's going to matter. Jerry Verse is going to be coming over that left side, and I know that they're probably going to try to give some help and chip over there, but they're not going to be able to do that all game. So I think the Rams pass rush will get after it. The Rams pass defense has, they have given up 28 points a game since week 11. That is concerning, but yeah. I have the Rams in that game as well. San Francisco at Seattle. What say the people's champ?
That's going to be the one.
Yeah, I think that game will be better than people expect.
Yeah, that's going to be the one.
I know the Niners are banged up, but that Kyle Shanahan, man.
I'm going to have to throw out a huge pause right here.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's going to be some serious wood laid that day. Serious. Because those two defenses, even though you can say what you want about the 49ers and they're plugging and patching, they still bring it.
Robert Saleh, man.
Yeah.
That cat is a heck of a defensive coach, man.
Yep. Dearborn in the building.
Heck of a defensive coach, man. Who you taking, man?
But that said, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Seahawks.
Me too. I'm taking the Seahawks in that game. So far we agree on the first three, man. Now, here's the big one, man. Texans at the Patriots. What say the people's champ, man? I think this could be the best game of the weekend. I like this game. This game, this one in the Bills and Broncos. This, those probably gonna be, what I'm saying? I mean, all of these games got the potential to be really good. I mean, it's gonna be a really good weekend of football. But I this game is I'm getting vibes from this game, this Texans and Patriots game. What say the people's champ?
Well, as much as I roll with my guy Drake Will, I did pick the Houston Texans to make an appearance in the AFC Championship game at the beginning of the season.
And that was a top-tier pick, by the way.
And I will not renege at this late stage of the game, so I'm going to roll with the Houston Texans in a defensive game with some highlight offense from two young quarterbacks who can grip it and rip it.
Yep. Well, we agree on all four because those are exactly the same teams that I picked. Broncos, Rams, Seahawks, Texans. We agree on all four.
Now watch us miss on all the games. Right? Watch that.
Yeah, we agree on all of them. I like that. So that's two home teams, two road teams, the two number one seeds we agree on, and the two lower seeded road teams we agree on. So we shall see, man. Yeah. The CFP, man. Shout out to the people's champ again, man. Picked the Hurricane. I picked Ole Miss. Miami did win an excellent game, by the way. It was 31-27. And Indiana took the big and tall men's braided dress belt into the Peach Bowl and beat Oregon 56-22. So the matchup is set for Hard Rock down in Miami. Who wins and why?
Well, let me say, it's great to see that the U is back to playing relevant, meaningful football games.
Love it.
I hope it continues.
Love it.
Mario Cristobal, I hope it is a sign of things to come.
I love it.
I've got something to tell you, my man. Come the 19th. Mr. Signotti have a nice can of whoop ass.
You say that man's big and tall braided dress belt is going to be on its way to Miami.
and I, you know, I'm like, again, I'm happy that you is back playing relevant ball.
And me too.
But it's just the Hoosiers' year, man.
Man, listen. It's going to be quiet up in that Hard Rock Stadium come the 19th.
And the crazy thing, these dudes only have 8 4-star players. They don't have any 5-star players. They have 8 4-star players.
Man, you know, you're so right. Like when I look at a football team, right? Me and my dad were talking about this. When I look at a football team, you know, because man, I grew up around a bunch of old football men. I look at like the guard, center guard play. I look at the interior defensive line. Mm-hmm. I look at how well the defensive ends set the edge. I look at how linebackers play gap control. You know, like I look at the fundamentals.
The secret to the sauce.
And I'm like, man, if somebody can pull up some tape of Indiana having a busted coverage or somebody running an outside zone on them, it just don't happen. The defensive ends and outside linebackers always set the edge. They never have a busted coverage. Not only are they talented, they are the most fundamentally sound team in the NCAA. And that's why they're so good. They not only talented, and Mendoza on the offensive side of the ball, they run the football. The guard, center guard play is, I mean, find some leakage. Find plays where they get leakage, and there's none. On the play, like the guard, center guard play on a zone block, find leakage. Yep. There's none. Everybody is hat on a hat.
Yep. It's no singular guy that per se does anything gaudy, but collectively it's like a tsunami.
Yeah, Mendoza throws lasers. He doesn't give the other team a chance to get the ball. Mm-hmm. So that means that you're going to have to beat them straight up playing possession football. Good luck.
So to your points, I should say, and this goes the way that we predicted, and Indiana, you know, finishes the deal. What does this mean for the Big Ten, and what does this mean for college football? Because again, 8 4-star players, 0 5-star players on this current roster.
I mean, listen, it means what it always meant, though. In my opinion, like I think good fundamentals and good coaching, it matters, particularly in college football. It does matter because Dan Lanning.
So you're saying Indiana's here?
Oh yeah,
they are here.
As long as Signetti is there, they're here.
All right, that's what I was getting to.
Go ahead now.
They have the second largest alumni base in the nation.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dan Lanning is the best coach in college football, in my opinion, at exploiting matchups. And he was on the field 2 times with Indiana this year.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. And that's what that told me everything I need to know. That's how you know they fundamentally sound, because if there's a matchup to be exploited, Dan Lanning is going to find it.
Yeah.
There was nothing to find. There was nothing to get. And that tells me everything I need to know. I'm like, it's the same thing with Ohio State. Like Ohio State, in my opinion, did the best job of playing a possession football game in the Big Ten championship game. Mm-hmm. They played the only way that you can play if you're going to get Indiana. No turnovers, no leakage, good, solid special teams play. And Indiana just made one more play than they did. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, can Miami do that? I don't know. I'm like, I'm not sure that Miami has the horses to do that. We'll see. Because this ain't even the same Indiana team that played in the Big Ten championship game. They playing better. They sharper. They more fundamentally sound. They hitting you with shot plays now.
They smell it now.
Yeah, they can taste it. So now they trying to go over the top a lot more. Are you going to play that cloud coverage? Are you going to play that shell? Are you going to, just give up? Because if you do that, then they're going to run the ball. They coming. They running the ball. They got 2 good running backs, and they got a big offensive line. So if you do that, then they coming downhill on you. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see
it
how you can exploit them. I've watched them play now, 15 times? I don't see, and I've watched them every game. I don't see how you can exploit them. But we'll see. I mean, I'm like, maybe the U got something for them.
If there's a team that matches up with them in the nation, I think it is Miami.
Okay.
I would say that, especially in the trenches, I think Miami is the closest team to Indiana. I think at the end of the day, the game is going to come down to what Carson Beck does. If Carson Beck doesn't show up, it's going to be BTH like Indiana has been doing all postseason. But if Carson Beck can go out there and play the clean game that he has the potential to play, then I see it being a close game. I'm not going to go out here and say Miami's going to win.
Right.
But I think it's going to be – I think they have a much better chance than a lot of people are giving them credit for.
Yeah.
Based off of the fact that everybody is in the honeymoon period. I guess, for lack of a better term, is in the honeymoon period of these last 2 Indiana games where they just smacked around Alabama and Oregon, who are perennial national title contenders.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's not to say that Miami is a shrinking violet. But my thing is there's no coverage bust, though. Like you see Miami take these shots, like they have good speed on the outside. The problem is that Indiana's not going to bust the coverage. That's how you get the shot plays, is that somebody is miscommunicating on the back end and, or like you run a route combination that gets the safety to move. Man, like find a busted coverage on them all year. You're not going to find it.
No, I agree that. I think that ultimately the game is going to come down to who is better at the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
For me, I just feel that horse-wise, Miami does have the horses. Can they put it together for one night and beat one of probably what might go down as one of the best teams of all time?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep. Okay, yeah. No, I mean, listen, I'm rooting for a good game. I don't really have a rooting interest. I can't see where you can exploit Indiana. Like, you got to find some exploitables if you're going to beat a team. Like, I have no idea what Mario Cristobal and his coaching staff are sitting in the room game planning for. Like, I would love to know when they watch the film, what they saying. Like, we can get them here and we can get them there. Like, because I don't see it. When I watch the film, I don't see exploitables. Like I see some exploitables for Miami because, they've lost a couple of times. They do have coverage busts in the back end. Like you can see where, guys get out of position trying to be a little over aggressive. You don't see that with Indiana. Indiana just doesn't have that. So, no, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm excited about the game. And good luck to both teams, obviously, because, this is big, man. It's big for college football.
Crazy world. Indiana Hoosiers, potential college football champion.
I think their last national championship was in 1967. Man.
That's crazy.
And, obviously none of us was even a thought.
I think my mom just graduated high school.
Right, exactly. I don't think either of my parents had graduated high school then. So, let's talk about the NBA, man. I want to get around to some of these NBA conversations. We got a little bit of time remaining because Giannis made some comments about the 65-game mandate in order to be eligible for NBA awards. And he said a lot, but the direct quote that caught my attention is the margin of error is too hard with the 65 games. He thinks, LeBron is obviously probably going to not be eligible because he missed the large portion of the beginning of the season. Jokic is probably not going to be eligible because he got the injury. Wemby's had a couple of injuries. Giannis has missed some time. And he's saying that he believes that the 65-game mandate essentially should be done away with in order to be eligible for NBA awards. What do you think about that? How do you feel about the 65 game mandate?
The fact that this is a thing is a joke.
I agree.
Like what? Really, like this conversation is so unserious to me.
Yeah.
The fact that we have a 65 game mandate, that it had to be implemented, in order to incentivize these guys that are already, making tons of money to play.
Yeah.
It's clown stuff, dude. Like, get out of here. No, no. I'm not feeling it, bro, at all.
I tend to agree. I'm like, listen, first of all, load management is training wheels for professional athletes. If you can't handle an 82 game schedule, that's why retirement exists.
Yeah, man.
I mean, listen, the free throw line is 15 feet away. The rim is 10 feet high. The court is 92 feet long. And the season is 82 games long. That's how it is.
94 feet.
94 feet long. Thank you.
No problem.
That's why you the people's champ, man.
I got you back, homie.
This is how it is. I mean, what are we confused about?
It's asinine, man. I don't understand.
If you can't handle the schedule, then retire. I mean, this is an unpopular opinion. NBA careers are not supposed to last for a quarter century. They're not. That's why they haven't.
Yeah. They ain't selling insurance.
That's a long time to be putting your body through what your body goes through as an NBA player. Now, I've never been a professional athlete, and I admire professional athletes. It's a grind. It's a tough endeavor. But you're not entitled to a professional basketball career.
But what job? And let me know. And there may be some. But what high-paying job?
Yeah.
That you get 100% of the spoils for showing up to work 79% of the time?
None.
Like, where does it exist?
It doesn't.
So that's what I'm saying. This conversation's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, no, man. I'm not with it at all. Like, I think they should go harder.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, though, what high-paying job does another person has a say on your salary?
I'm sorry?
At what high-paying job does another person who's not in the field has a say on your salary?
Well, I mean, at every job, because all jobs are consumer-driven. If the consumer doesn't consume, so if you work at McDonald's, if people don't come in and buy burgers, you ain't got no job. So everywhere, everybody has a say on your
So let's
salary.
say y'all had an NBA award vote.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all think it would be fair for y'all to have a say in the person's salary?
No, not necessarily. But what I'm saying is that the consumer is consuming. So I went to the game on Saturday night, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, I was invited, but let's say I purchased a ticket to go to the game. I expect to see if he's healthy, Cade. I expect to see Jalen Duren. I expect to see Tobias Harris. I expect to see Isaiah Stewart. Now, none of them played. And I understand, listen, if it's a legitimate injury, that's one thing.
Yep.
But if they load managing and resting,
these load management welfare queens running through the NBA,
that's not okay. And that game on Saturday night, them people was that stadium was filled to the rafters.
Go ask the people in New Orleans who bought season tickets when they found out they got the number 1 pick when they got Zion.
Yeah. I mean, so yes, yes, those fans are responsible in part for the salaries of the players.
That's true.
When they buy tickets, when they buy merchandise, and now, and I'm gonna add this in because the stakes are higher now because now the NBA is asking you to purchase all of these streaming services in order to consume the product now.
Yeah,
so now they want you to buy Amazon Prime and they want you to buy Peacock and they want you to buy Paramount Plus. So now you got to do all of that
and play Where's Waldo to find your local team to watch them play a damn game.
Exactly. So now the stakes are even higher because you asking the consumer now to kick in even more money in order to consume the product. So yeah,
and your ass showing up 79% of the time.
But it's not the consumer that's voting for MVP. It's not the consumer who's voting for all MVP.
It's the media vote with their wallet.
No, it's the media. But
yeah, I know what. But again, like you saying, like the fans should have a say in what they want to see.
I never said a fan should have a say. I just that's just my opinion that, like if you show up to work 79% of the time, you shouldn't expect 100% of the benefits.
Right. And again, this is collective.
If I show up to work 79% of the time, I'm not gonna have a job.
Right. But
like you about to say, like they collectively
bargain for this. At the end of the day,
they have nobody to blame for themselves. But yes, I think that at some point you just need to show up and play. At the same time, it just seems ridiculous that I can have a fluke injury at the wrong time, and now I'm missing out on a whole bunch of money because of some crazy rule, or because some media member feels some type of way. I'm losing out on money as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. So I would split the difference, right? I think that the NBA should have independent physicians.
This is why you're my guy.
I believe that the NBA should have independent physicians. No more team physicians. Because when you see, and again, I mean, I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but whatever. When you see that a guy is sitting out for knee soreness is not an injury.
Yep.
What's causing the knee soreness is the injury. So is it a ligament sprain?
Yep.
Is it a tendon sprain? All of that's an injury. Knee soreness is not an injury. So, like when you start seeing stuff like that, I'm like, the NBA should have its own physicians, because in my opinion, when you see a guy sitting out for knee soreness / management, that's load management.
Yep.
That's what that is. And I agree with you. I mean, again, I said guys sitting out for legitimate injuries is one thing, but guys sitting out basically to manage the amount of games that they playing, no, we've already managed the amount of games that you playing, 82. That's the management. We've decided how many games you playing. Go ahead.
No, it's crazy that you mentioned that, because while I was taking notes on the topics for the show, I said, to your point, the league, I think, should set up call it whatever you want, a medical monitoring team separate to correspond with team doctors, players' personal doctors,
yes,
the player's agent,
yeah,
and that way they can find out for sure. All right, what's the severity of the injury? How far can this go? What the entire parameters of it. So that way they can kind of curb some of this stuff. Because obviously the 65-game mandate was to try to curb some of the load management.
Yes.
And of course now the players are pushing back, which, they're going to do. So I think one of the ways that maybe they can kind of circumvent that is just to leave it to a separate party.
Yes.
With the appropriate, certified brain trust involved.
Yes.
And whatever, I don't know what system you set up where you deem what injuries are quote unquote legitimate.
Correct.
And requires different variables of load management. And then where there's some where you're gouging.
Or you can grade injuries, what I'm saying? Like grade 1 injury, you can miss, those don't count against the 65 game. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't fleshed out exactly how to do it.
And say if they exceed that grade typical recovery time,
correct,
then another exam's required by this independent medical. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
If that checks out, well, yeah, you pay them because they're injured. You get
or
what I'm saying?
Or you make them award eligible, because I know what nephew was saying, because those all NBA selections
cost you money on the back end.
Yes, they determine whether or not you are eligible for a max or a super max deal. So when they don't hit those 65 game thresholds and they're not eligible for those awards, when they go back to renegotiate the contract, you haven't hit that all NBA benchmark.
And I hear Neff, but I'm more so gearing my argument towards the guys that go into training camp talking about we load managing.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Like going into training camp. Yeah. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like I'm not playing back-to-backs.
Yeah, that's
like LeBron basically said that in his interview. He like, he was like, I'm up in the air on all back-to-back. I mean, he said that being interviewed, like jokingly, but he said it. He like, I'm up. Look, I'm basically up in the air. And again, he's 41 years old, so maybe he's the extreme example.
Well, there's a place for 41-year-old basketball players. Right, it's called the TV studio.
Right, or LA Fitness.
Yeah, or the crib.
Right.
And just like on the final note, I'm not saying this again. This is something I'm not saying will ever happen or anything, but you're 1 or 2 crazy seasons away from some fourth option on the team qualifying for the Supermax. If they have 2 crazy years and they get on the All NBA third team 2 times, now they're eligible for a Supermax. So you also got to. I mean, it's a finicky situation, but I do agree. At the end of the day, you should be awarded for playing.
Yes, I mean, right. We want to see players play. But yeah, so not to belabor that, but I like the 65 game mandate. I think that perhaps you could add some caveats to it so that it's not too punitive. Yeah. But all in all, I think it's a good way to cut down on some of the load managing that is happening. And I think that a conversation about load management itself is probably in the cards the next time they come together and talk about the next collective bargaining agreement. But I want to talk about the NBA trade market before we get out of here.
Okay.
And where the Pistons sit in the trade market. Because with some rumblings that Giannis had requested a trade. Anthony Davis is available for trade, but now
he said he would never ask for a trade.
Yeah, whatever. There's been some rumblings about Ja Morant being traded. So I have some thoughts, and then I'll take yours. Mm-hmm. I think that people are unwilling now to make these blockbuster deals. I think that we're going to see less and less of them. Number one, because I think the last blockbuster trade that actually resulted in a championship was Anthony Davis in 2020. And we already talked about the bubble championship and all of the circumstances that surrounded that, and, you know what I'm saying? And, and the mitigating factors, right? So we don't have to relitigate that. But really, how many of these blockbuster trades actually result in a championship? And so what you end up doing is you end up trading for a high-priced player, leveraging a bunch of draft picks, and still not winning anything. You know what I'm saying? Like KD been to how many different places and didn't win nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like he signed with Golden State in free agency, but then trade, and what has worked out? You know what I'm saying? Like all of these superstars going to these different places. And, it was reported that they wanted 4 first-round draft picks for Giannis. Same thing with Lowry Markkanen. Like I heard somebody wanted 3 or 4, like Danny Ainge looking for 3 or 4 first round. For what?
Well, Danny Ainge is a professional fleecer. Yeah,
but who's going to do that? Because Lowry Markkanen is not delivering any championship wherever he goes. The same thing, like I'm seeing the Pistons connected to Michael Porter Jr. and, you know what I want. I mean, like, again, they got Kuminga toiling on the bench. I'm like, I trade Tobias Harris straight up for Jonathan Kuminga. No draft picks, no nothing. Give me Jonathan Kuminga. He 23. He fit in with the young guys here. Tobias Harris is an expiring deal, and they make almost the same money. That's the only thing that I don't feel the burning need for the Pistons to make a trade. Particularly if it means leveraging the future, because I don't know that there's a trade out there that gives us a better chance to win a championship this year. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I feel like, I'm a little bit more optimistic about our chances to win this year than you are. I don't think that we would be the odds-on favorite to win, but I feel like we could win this year. If we don't, I won't be heartbroken. I say that now, but if we make a deep run, I I probably will be heartbroken. But I'll give you a chance, man, to comment on all of that, man. What do you say about these big blockbuster deals? Do you think teams are shying away from them? Do you think, teams have lost the appetite for them? Or do you think that, the right team would still try to swing something for one of these big blockbuster deals?
Well, I mean, I think you'll always have your teams that will always try to swing for the fences, so they want to keep butts in seats.
Gotcha.
Their aspirations are not necessarily towards winning a title.
Right.
They're just kind of more so want to stay in business.
Yeah.
And they may not necessarily be in a small market per se. So you always have those teams.
Yeah, like
those
teams. Like the Luka trade in LA. Yeah.
Now, in terms of your contenders, yeah, I mean, like you say, outside of the 2020 Lakers, I can't really see one that yielded a title. Yep. You got the year before, and that was Toronto with Kawhi.
Yep, that's right.
But that's I mean, I guess to kind of tie this together with our Pistons, I don't think we make a trade unless it's like an Aaron Gordon to Denver trade. You get what I'm saying? Like he was the player that they needed.
Yes.
But if the player
comes role player, yeah.
Like if as the trade deadline becomes closer and more names are thrown out and something kind of makes sense, then but just to make a trade because they may be nervous about something down the road with a piece that won't necessarily fit what we need, I think would hurt us in the long run.
I agree. Yep, that's exactly the way I feel. Go ahead now. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's exactly the way I feel about it. I mean, I can
deal with a deep playoff run with this group because I feel we're ahead of schedule.
Correct. Yeah. I'm like, everybody's under 25, what I'm saying? All of the core pieces anyway. We're going to have some cap room next year because Tobias is an expiring contract. If there happens to be something in free agency that we want to do or a piece that we want to add, and I'm cool with staying the course. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel the burning desire. Like, man, go. Let's add that piece. I'm like,
no.
if it's right, like you said, if the right situation comes along, again, like I would call Golden State only because I don't think Jonathan Kuminga has played since like mid-December.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't think he's played a minute, and I'm like, it's obviously over for him in Golden State.
It's the most unreal thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I mean, what's wild is that he asked out when he was an unrestricted free agent in the offseason. He asked to be traded. The organization would not oblige him.
And they gave him more money to sit him down. So, I mean, more power to him for chilling and getting a nice bag.
Yeah, right. You're making $24 million a year.
But he's a young kid that I'm sure wants to play.
He wants his opportunity. I mean, like they treat him like Ben Simmons.
I can't wait till the tea leaves, reveal what really went on with that situation, man, because that's super funky, man. I was looking at their stat line last night, and they played like 15 guys last night against Portland. Like, seriously, I think Melton led them in points. Steph only had 7, but he had like 11 assists. Pajemski, I mean, everybody played. Not Pods, what's the guy? Quentin Post. Like, everybody got minutes last night. You go all the way down the box score. It was like 1 DNP, and that might have been Dale Davis's kid and Seth Curry, who's hurt with a hip.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, everybody
Trace Jackson
played.
Davis.
Yeah, and he might have played. I'm just trying to visualize, but it went all the way down. Like, everybody got a piece of the action. And for Kuminga not even to be in the box score for a DNP all zeroed out means to me that he's not even in the arena. Like, he's probably
right. He's not on the active roster.
Yeah, he's not.
That
even,
is wild.
He's not even.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, man, trade him.
You show up to the arena, he's not even in the program, dog. Like, that's bad.
Yeah, that's why I said I call, man. I'd be like, look, man, what y'all want for Kuminga, man?
Yeah, for Tobias, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, straight up for Tobias, man. Expiring contract.
Another backdoor threat.
Yeah.
An athlete who could be a willing defender.
23 years old. He's his best days are ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, listen, I would swing that in a minute, but
I think players like playing for a coach like JB Bickerstaff.
I mean, listen, at this point, I made a joke when I was at the game Saturday night. He can't. I mean, Tolu Smith almost had a double-double. I'm like,
9
at this
and 14 and 4 blocks and 26 minutes.
At this point, I'm convinced he could play me for 15 minutes, man, and get some good D and get 4 and 5 out of me, man. You know, I'm like, because he can't miss. He can't make any poor decisions at this point. And he pushing all the right buttons.
And do you watch how he interacts with players from other teams that he may have coached previously? I look at little stuff like that, and I kind of see like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, man, he's outstanding.
And that kind of goes a long way when you get a guy that may have not have been the fit that they thought he would have been at another place, but you can get him to buy in here.
Just give him the coach of the year and give Trajan the executive of the year. Just go on and give that now, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can wait on K's MVP, but y'all can go and give them awards out now, man.
And Trajan didn't really do a whole lot.
I mean, but he pushing all the right buttons, though, man. I mean, like all of his picks and everything.
Hey, sometimes standing pat and sticking to your guns is the right move.
Yeah, man. So, at any rate, man, we'll wrap it up on that. Go ahead, Neff.
I know last week I asked y'all about your confidence level in the Pistons for this season. Yep. And it sounds like y'all are pretty confident in the future of the Pistons. But you don't think there's not a point to be urgent about this year, even though that, yes, I don't think anybody wants them to make a rush move just to make a rush move. But if you look at the Eastern Conference, the window might not be this open ever again for the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. You got New York, who's in their title window. Boston's going to come back eventually once they get Jason Tatum back. Sure. You got Philly, if they can maneuver around this Embiid, Paul George fall off and they can work around. And once that money comes off the books, they have a 2-guard combo that they can build around with Maxey and Edgecombe. Yeah. You still got Cleveland lurking around if they can get the coaching situation right.
They actually scare me more than anybody.
Like, is there a sense that, yes, we don't want to rush it, but there needs to be some urgency? Like, this might be our only chance to really get it done. Not to say that the potential isn't there, but what's to say this isn't 2021 Atlanta all over again?
So I'll answer first, man, and then I'll throw it to the people's champ. So yes, I mean, listen, I think, you know how I feel. In professional sports, the future is now. I'm always urgent about winning championships. That's why, I think that even really good head coaches like John Harbaugh and Tomlin, not to harken back to previous topics, but, like even when you let them go after a long tenure, I think that it's the right decision if you're not moving toward championships. Mm. But in terms of the Pistons, I think that I'm not nervous about this year because, number one, history tells us that you got to make a couple of deep runs first, even though, that's been defied before. But typically you got to make a couple of runs first before you win a championship. That doesn't mean that I don't think we could win this year. But secondly, and most importantly, I don't really see that piece out there that makes us a championship contender immediately. Like if I saw that one guy out there who was attainable and that made us a championship contender without us having to leverage the future entirely, and then when you do that, you're not a championship contender anymore. So and I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. So like Giannis is available, right? But they going to want four first-round picks. They going to want probably 2 of your young core pieces, right? So you're probably going to end up giving a Sura up, maybe Duran, right? So if you do that, then are you a championship contender anymore? You know what I'm saying? So like you have to look at the ramifications of what it would take to get whomever in the building. I mean, like people think about swinging a blockbuster deal and they only thinking about adding the individual who they want. They not thinking about what the individual is going to take to get into the building. So With all of that said, I do feel like, like what I said before, if the right deal comes along, you don't have to leverage the future, but you can add somebody who's going to be productive, who's going to fit, who's going to take us to another level, particularly offensively, but and also be able to come in and contribute defensively. I think that's the right move. Otherwise, I'm not burning up to just swing a trade just to say we did something, because that's what a Michael Porter Jr. feels like. Like, I don't feel like he brings us to another level. He doesn't make us a championship contender, in my opinion. But we'll say the people's champ.
Yeah, I would never advocate, punting a season per se.
Yeah.
Or anything of that sort, or taking an opportunity for granted in terms of the landscape of the Eastern Conference. And the reason why I'm not as concerned is we have Cade Cunningham, we have Jalen Duren, and we have, I believe, culture here.
Yes.
If we didn't have those three things, then I would be a little bit more susceptible to maybe want to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And in terms of maybe try and make something happen. But the fact that you have a post cornerstone piece and a point guard cornerstone piece and a culture permeating in terms of, like, back to what we know, defensive intensity.
Yep.
I think, and with Trajan, as you mentioned earlier, I think, we have the personnel up top that can make sure the pieces that Cade and Duren need, will be available and accessible to it. So yeah, I think as long as they keep those two guys, they'll be in the hunt.
Just to piggyback that point, and then I'll throw it back to you, Neff. The fact that we are as young as we are, that's what makes the biggest difference. The going to work Pistons were a veteran team with an old coach. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, the urgency there felt.
A lot of reclamation projects on that roster.
Right. It was a veteran team, but this is a young team with a young coach. JB is only a couple of years older than us.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is young. Everybody got a long runway ahead of them. But go ahead, Neff.
I think we all in agreement. I'm not so sure that we should be so sure that the future is 100% bright, because I feel like we're one Indiana lottery ticket away from the East being a legit 6 title contenders deep.
Yeah, you know what? I said that. I'm like, man, Indiana could get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And get Halliburton back next year.
And get AJ with him.
Yeah, that scares me.
AJ, Cam.
Yeah, that scares me. Yeah, Cam Booth.
It's a lot of
Caleb
people.
Wilson.
Yeah. I'm like, that's scary.
It's a lot of people come. I think this draft is at the top is a lot of potential at the top. And so
no doubt about that.
It's just the East could be 6-7 deep. And I'm not saying that we don't have the potential and the ability to win it all in the future. It's just, I don't know. I know everything looks all peaches and roses right now, but this not the time for Tranger to just sit back on his lawyer.
I hear you.
No, listen.
Now, do you think, nephew, there's a guy out there? And if so, who is it?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's the name that at this point in the season, the names that people want to throw around. I don't think there's one of those names out there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the trade that we're going to have to make is going to be something that helps strengthen the bench without killing the depth.
Yeah. No,
I think that's the move that people are looking for. Who is the centerpiece of that trade? I don't know who it is.
Jaden Ivey.
He's talking about who's coming.
Who's coming?
Who's coming?
Who would be coming? Yeah.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, if they want to trade for somebody, they can put the trade together.
I mean, like we got a lot of pieces.
I think the question is just ultimately be who do they feel is that piece that they feel that can fit in and take us over the hump.
Right.
For now and possibly the next 2, 3, 4 seasons.
That's what I'm saying, because once we get him here, we're stuck with him. And to your earlier point, this may be a 6-team deep conference next season. So, that move, if it's out there and available, it's got to be a kill shot.
But see, that's all the more reason why you don't want to leverage the future too, though. Like, if you gotta, you don't want to be in a conference that's 6 contenders deep and you don't have a draft pick until 2035. You know what I'm saying?
We're really just getting control back of our draft picks. Yeah. I'm good on the thought of trading them. Yeah. I mean, them draft picks and all of that, I get it, but I'm cool on not having control of my draft picks right now. Especially as we're about to enter a phase in our team where we're gonna have a lot of money tied up. Yeah. And we're gonna need those rookie contracts.
Ask the Lakers how that works out. Like they didn't, they didn't have draft picks for a lot of years, and they was coming up just short. Yeah, they had 2 great superstars, but you have to supplement that now. So at any rate, man, this was a great show, man. Marathon version, but we appreciate everybody, man, sticking in there with us.
Thanks for bearing with us, folks. Love y'all.
Y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe, man. That's Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. Everybody Has One spelled out. Every sports podcast everywhere else. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Threads, that's Twitch, and that's TikTok. The audio version of the podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, man. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. And when y'all watch those videos, please remember to make sure to watch them in their entirety. Throw it on in the background while you're working, while you're at the gym, while you're cooking, while you're taking a shower, whatever it is, man. When you like to just have something to zone out to, something to check out. Make sure that y'all talking about the podcast, man, sharing it with your friends and family. Put it in the group chat. Everybody you love, everybody you know, everybody you don't know, everybody you don't like. Share it with them too, man. And we appreciate y'all so much for the continued support and love. And we will see y'all back here next week at 8 p.m. or as close as we can get to it. You know how we do.
CP time.
Well, thank y'all so very much. It's the Everybody Has One podcast. Peace.